Hello, everyone. Welcome to our September call. So thrilled to have you here. Eric is traveling today, so you get me, but I'm excited and ready to answer questions. And today is going to be a really kickback day. I love it that it's Fridays when we record these. I've got all the questions that have been submitted. We're going to go through those. But I thought first it might be helpful for me to just explain like 3 things that totally just went wrong here the last 3 days so that you can know that my life is very normal. Okay, so number one, today I got a phone call. I had registered to go to a conference and we bought a plane ticket. It's next week. I bought a plane ticket. We got a hotel. I got a rental car. I'm looking for business cards, totally ready to go to this conference. We found out the conference is now in March. They changed it and they forgot to tell me. So anyway, we're trying to figure that out. That's kind of fun. And then this morning, I sent 18,000 emails out to Learn to Become with Dear Contact First Name. It didn't even have their name in it. So I had to go through and fix that. Did that totally wrong. And I've taken like 4 naps the last 2 days because I was so tired and I was really mad at Eric yesterday and I thought it was all his fault. And I'm thinking part of it was I was tired. But anyway, those are just a few little human things to let you know that things are totally normal around here. And if you're having like ups and downs as you're trying to get organized, no stress. It's totally normal. But as we keep progressing, we keep moving, it's going to get easier. All right. So those of you who are here on the chat today, we're so glad that you're here. And the reason why I love this community is because no one expects me to be totally perfect. I love that. If you want someone who's totally polished and has everything going, that's not me. But if you want someone who loves their family, loves getting organized, who's found things that work, and I'm here to help you to be able to do the same thing in a really imperfect world, you're in the right place. So right now I'm going to go ahead and open up the emails that were sent with a registration that has all the questions on it. And I'm going to be just going through step by step with those. Those of you who are here on the call, if you have any questions to clarify, let me know. And then I'll cover any additional questions that are here, okay? All right, and some people are on the phone. Okay, people can see us on the phone. Awesome. Welcome, Barbara, glad you're here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first question came in from someone who is just getting going with STEP and who says, I'm feeling overwhelmed and behind and I need some guidance to get restarted. So if any of you are in that boat where you feel like, oh, I'm kind of trying to build my system, it's not working yet, I want to, this is for you. So here's how she put it. She said, I realize I have a very hard time with any transition. For example, in the morning, I have a hard time starting my day. Or in the STEP program, until I start working on a module, it takes a long time. But when I'm there and I'm started, if time permits, and I guess I'm lucky, I work for hours. But just getting something started is extremely hard for me. And so I procrastinate and I'm behind on many issues. Okay, so we're seeing already my thoughts exactly here in the chat. You're absolutely not alone. So let's talk about it. If you're procrastinating ever, there's a couple things to think about. Number one is you want to boil that next action down even more. So it's so simple. Because anytime I have something on my list and I haven't done it, it's usually because I'm procrastinating. I'll give you an example. I have like all my little tasks here on my progressive task list. And one of the things that I put on here is a phone call, calling the dentist to make appointments for my kids. This has been on my list for like 3 weeks. And you know why? Because I made appointments for all of my kids and I had to cancel all 4 of them because they were mad about the time I scheduled. So what's happened is this. I have call the dentist to make the kids appointments. It's okay, Sunny. Sorry, that's my puppy. I'll let her out if she needs to. I said, call the dentist. What I needed to say was talk to my kids and get some dates set up for them. Hang on, I'm going to let Sunny out. Hey, come on out. There you go. Okay, that's our new golden doodle. Okay, so when you're building your STEP system or when you're working on a project, if it's just sitting there on your list, look at it and think, why am I not doing it? What is it that I'm putting off? Catherine's like, I hate calling dentist. Same thing. But usually there's at least something you can do. There's some reason why. So I need to have a discussion with my kids and say, hey, give me at least like 5 dates when you could do it, or give me some parameters to work with. So when I call and go through all this effort, it's not going to be a waste. Does that make sense? Same thing in the STEP program. If you feel like, oh, I'm going to open a whole module and I've got to build everything. No, you don't have to do that. Maybe just say, open up the module that you're on, module 1 or module 2, or print out that checklist. If you don't have the checklist out yet, print the checklist. and put it in front of me. That can be your next action. Make it something that's so easy so that you can just feel good about it. This is how I move forward on everything. Like I created 3 different podcasts this morning. I was recording, I was putting things together, getting all the audios. That's kind of an overwhelming project for me because I was dealing with like 4 different files. Some had been emailed to me. We're doing this compilation podcast. It was a big project. But I just said, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is just find out where the audios are. 3 were in my email, 1 was in Evernote. I had to get them together. When you boil it down, it's going to be so much easier. Okay. So hopefully that's clear. If you're here on the call and you have any other clarifying questions for that, or if you can think of something I could say to make it make more sense, then let me know. We'll add that in. All right. So getting really good at next actions will help you. And then the next question says, how do you avoid procrastination as the only thing we put on a specific day on a calendar are specific date tasks? So she's basically saying, if I have a project that I want to move forward, but it's not calendar specific, then am I ever going to do it? Will I ever move forward on it? So here's the thing. Some people, like I was actually working with a CEO of a company that does a whole bunch of marketing strategies. I was working with him on his email organization and on his calendar a couple weeks ago. And he said, okay, I like to block out time in my calendar for everything. I say, I'm going to work on my blog for these hours. I'm going to work with clients these hours. I'm going to do my email these hours. So he goes into his Google Calendar and he blocks out time. Now, I suggested that he not do that. I suggested that he take just the things that have to happen and have everything else kind of on a next in line list or organized by projects. And I'll show you my Asana later, kind of how I do it. And when I talked to him a couple of days later, he said, you know, it's really counterintuitive what you told me because I like to block out the time. So here's what I told him. I said, I think that's totally fine if you want to block out the time, but only block out time that you know you have control of. Because what you don't want to do is schedule out your whole life and then realize that you have interruptions coming up, or maybe the time wasn't even yours to begin with. Like if you have children or if you have like coworkers or if you're in this really interruption rich environment, and then you spend all your day moving things on your calendar to different days, because that's just demoralizing and it's a waste of time. So one of the things that helps me, for example, is that if I know, okay, Monday I have, 6 hours while my kids are at school and I only have 2 appointments. So I'm going to have at least 4 hours of work time. I can go ahead on my calendar and I can put at least 1 or 2 things I can do that day. But I usually do write down half of what I would like to do because always something will come up. You need to remember emails are going to be coming in, phone calls are coming in, something's going to pop up, something's going to go wrong. So you just plan for that. And then that's going to help you so much and you won't feel overwhelmed anymore. But if you just leave as much space open as possible and you have a really organized list, what will end up happening, which I know seems kind of weird at first, but what will end up happening is that you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to get your calendar stuff done, you're going to have everything done that has to be done, your emails will be at 0, and then you're just going to be sitting there like, okay, I'm done. What else do I need to do? And that's when you just start working on your project work, and then you feel ahead. So that's my goal for you is I want you to feel ahead of the game every day. I never want you to feel like you're behind. Like right now, I've completed my entire task list for today. If I can show you like my little task list on my planner. I've completed the whole thing. So it's only 1 o'clock here in California. My kids will come home at 2:30. I can do a few more things this afternoon if I want to, but I feel so ahead. Now, do I still have a million things I could do? Well, yeah, just like you, right? We all have a million things we could do, but the things I had to do are just done. So I'm breathing, I'm happy, I feel like I can take on the world, right? And that's what I want for you. Okay, the other thing is that you can add those calendar triggers. So if you don't like having so much flexibility, if you're thinking, okay, my calendar specific things are on my calendar, here's my list of options, kind of nebulous. If you don't like that because you feel like you can't see how the other options are going to get done, go ahead and create calendar triggers. Say, okay, here's a project. I at least need to think about it on Monday and Thursday or whatever, Friday. Like put those calendar triggers into your calendar and remind yourself. So that way you're at least thinking about it and then you're agreeing with yourself, I'm not going to do it, or I am going to do it. Okay, that makes sense? All right, next question says, I'm still in module 1. I'm trying to clear off and clean out my desk, but I'm really struggling. Because in the class it mentions to sort and donate, etc., which I get, but it's a mess of desk stuff. And I know I'll probably want to keep some of it for step, but I don't know what I need to keep. I can't see into the program, so I don't know what I'm going to need. Okay, thank you so much for saying this. And that's why we created the Step Starter. It's in your mastery program. If you just click right in, I think I put the little button right below your modules, but there's a Step Starter that explains the basics of the system. It'll explain kind of Evernote, how you can build it if you want to build it digitally. It'll have the step diagram, just walking through everything you're going to need. Now, you're not going to have all of the details, but you'll have the sense of it. And you're going to be able to see the flow chart and all of the weekly review stuff. So that's really helpful, going to that Step Starter. Or what a lot of people have said that they do is seriously just click through and look at every step of the modules. Just take like, I don't know, 15 minutes. And at the end of every step, it'll say, click here to move on to the next step. Just keep clicking and scan and go through, because there's 8 modules and there's, maybe like 6, 7 steps per module. So, I mean, it's kind of a lot of clicking, but you could go through the whole thing 15 minutes or so, or you could take a little longer if you actually want to listen to some of the stuff, wrap your head around it. So the thing is, I didn't want to give you like explain the whole program all at once. I could, if you guys want me to do some more of that. I've been thinking of putting maybe together an audio that'll go through and explain the whole program. You can listen to in maybe 20 minutes, then you can go build it. So let me know what kind of thing would be helpful to you. But really, if you can just even peek ahead for 3 or 4 more steps and come back. Also, module 3 is where you're collecting your stuff, and we have the checklist in there of everything you're going to need. So you could jump ahead to module 3. Go check that out. But just trust us. And if worst comes to worst, take everything on your desk, just move it to the side and then build your system, and then you can organize from there. Okay. All right. Next question says, how do you choose your top projects when you have so many that need doing all at once? For instance, there isn't one space of my home that's organized or running smoothly, and that's going to change. So have hope. I also have a home business, and I not only need to get my office under control, but I need to get craft projects under control and make time to work my business. I keep getting distracted by the clutter. So once an area is organized, how do you maintain and remember where you put your stuff? I love it. Okay, so how do you choose your top projects? For rooms, if you're trying to get rid of clutter, just pick the room that you're in the most. I would start there. So if you're always in your office, just pick the office and get that office organized. And especially if you're trying to grow a business, I would get the office organized like first. Or if you feel like the stress of your family is so much that you can't even work your business, then pick the room your family is in the most and do that room. So kitchen, usually like that kitchen back room area, that's the one I make sure is totally clear and organized, because that's where we are. Kids are doing their homework, we're trying to make meals, we're eating, we're making lunches. If that room's a mess, like we're all grumpy, okay? So yeah, pick the room where you are the most. And then when it comes to your office, you really want to be able to get the business and the office and your processes up and running as soon as possible, because when you're able to generate your income, it's going to take a whole lot more stress off. And then as your business is running and as you feel like, okay, I'm on top of things, the bills are paid, I'm starting to save money, I'm feeling great about my business, then you can feel like, all right, now I can do a little bit more organizing and decorating. But just pay attention to your mind, because sometimes I felt like, all right, I just need to invest seriously 2 days. I'm just going to streamline, declutter, get everything out as much as I can. And other times I can say, this is just going to sit while I work on this. For example, my sons have a bedroom. My one son is 13 and one son is 9. And typically about once a year, I go in their room and I declutter the whole thing with them. I do that for each child. I put it off for my sons because Eric and I have been building Learn, Do, Become. I've been writing a book for my mom. She's in the last stages of Alzheimer's, so I've been with her a lot. And I just haven't been spending a lot of time decluttering because the home was really running fairly well. But the boys' room, even though the carpet was clear, they just had a bunch of stuff under their beds and they had a bunch of stuff on their bookshelves, and it was just kind of getting really overwhelming and deep and cluttered. So finally, though, as soon as now that things are going better with my mom, my book's done, Learn to Become is running really well, everything was going great. I said, okay, boys, we're going to clean your room. And oh my gosh, it was the biggest mess. I was so mad while I was going through their room and seeing stuff everywhere. But you know what? We made it through. We got it cleaned up. They were so cute. They're like, Mom, we just needed help. We didn't know how to do it. So it was okay. It sat there. And in my mind, I said, I know it's a mess. I'm just going to let it sit there. So it's okay, but you'll get to it as soon as you can. Now their room's looking great and it's all vacuumed and they've given away like 10 bags of stuff. It's great. But really, I feel like all it is in your mind, it's setting up your expectations for yourself. So if you expect yourself to have every room perfectly organized and your house totally running smoothly with menu plans and routines, and the kids are all doing all the cleaning and everything's perfect all at once, it's not going to happen, and you're going to feel super overwhelmed. But if you can just say, okay, I'm going to work on this part of the house, get the kitchen going, then I'm going to get my business going, and then you'll have a list. You can have a next in line list of all the rooms you want to do, all the craft projects you want to do, and we'll dive into Asana. We can talk more about how to prioritize. It's going to save you, because then you won't feel bad and you won't feel like you're putting it off or like you're not doing enough. Yeah, Miriam's saying, I think expectations are key. That's, as I look more at STEP and as I work with a lot of different parents or entrepreneurs or CEOs, what I'm finding is that if we expect this much from ourselves during the day, then, well, not that you want to lower your expectations, but if you're really clear and you say, I could probably do a few things today, once you get those done, you're a doer. You wouldn't be in this program if you weren't a doer. You're going to keep going and you're going to keep building, right? But if you think, I'm going to do all 25 of these projects because they're all really important, they're all really good, and then you're just kind of hitting at them here and there, you're going to be discouraged and you're not going to get anything done. So really, and I find like the last 2 days, I was really overwhelmed. Like, I mean, I guess we're here among friends, womanly wise, like when, you have these cycles, I had 2 really overwhelming days last 2 days. And so the way that I handled it, besides yelling at Eric, sorry, is that I narrowed my list. I went through my list and I was like, Eric, I can't do everything. And I made it super, super short. Okay. So we'll talk more about prioritizing in a little bit, because I want us to dive into that, because that's a big deal. Okay, next question said, how do you determine what makes project status? I want to do marketing for my business, but somehow I keep putting this off each week. Should I make it a project with a goal? How does one not just put everything off to next week if you don't already have a set weekly routine? Okay, marketing your business, yes, I would make that a goal, absolutely. If that's one of the highest priorities, like you already have the business set up, you know what it is you're selling, you've got some processes in place, now it's just marketing, I would say, okay, I'm going to establish a marketing routine that I'm excited about. Now, as far as goal setting, I've been working with Todd Herman from 90 Day Year, and he says that goals, you need to have some number attached. I'm going to double my clients, or I'm going to get X number of clients by this date. Have something that's kind of tangible that you can work towards. That makes it a goal. And then the projects are what support the goal. So once you have the goal and you know what you're shooting for, he does like a good, better, best, then you can say, all right, so the first step is I need to create maybe a special information page on my website, or I'm going to email these 5 people who I think would be great potential clients, right? You start putting together these projects that support your goal. But even just sitting down and brainstorming and saying, hey, what are all the things that I could do or that I want to do? That could be a next action for your project. And I would definitely make that a project. And then once you have it as a project, then you build it into a routine. We'll talk more about those a little bit later too. The projects and routines. I just published our podcast on Learn to Become about Asana today, and included some images of like a standard Asana. And I'm going to take you into my personal window today, so you can just kind of see what I'm doing and ask questions and make suggestions, and we can kind of learn together. Okay, next question. Oh, and one more idea could be theming your days. So although your routines, once they're in place, they're not going to be on your projects list, and they don't need to go on your calendar. Like, I don't calendar house routines, like groceries and dishes and stuff like that. They just kind of happen. Once your business things are in a routine state, sometimes it is helpful to theme your days. So if I know, like, okay, Fridays are podcast and meeting days, and Tuesdays is my Power of Moms day, right? Or something like that. Then you can organize and theme your days so that generally I'm going to work on this kind of stuff whenever I can. All right. Okay. And then we're seeing Michael Hyatt has a post about theming days. Very interesting to see his schedule. Awesome. Yeah. Michael Hyatt, I listen to all the time. I'm a member of his Platform University, which I really like. And he has some great resources, and his life planning book's really good too. So yeah, absolutely. So if we can find that link, I'm going to make a little note of stuff for Danielle to help me find, but I'll put that in there because that's awesome. Thank you guys. Okay, next thing, setting up desk time and purging. So this is what she's trying to do, or he's trying to do, versus daily, weekly routines and scheduling all this into paper and digital calendars. Just feeling kind of overwhelmed. Okay, so I think what might help as you're thinking about getting the office clean and trying to figure out what you're doing is to recognize that building your step system is a project, all right? Setting up your desk, setting up your Evernote or your Kanban or Asana or To-Do, Cozy, whatever it is you're using, that's a project. Your calendar is going to be running all the time, and your routines are just running all the time. And then projects move forward. So this is something that I never really thought about. I just always thought like, well, I have a task list. And the thing is, when I look through Franklin Covey catalogs, I used to work with Franklin Covey, and like those catalogs were my life. I was in organizational sales and customer service. So that was kind of my thing back in college. When I look at what they write on the samples in the Franklin Covey catalog where they're showing, here's a day, here's what you write down. It's like exercise at 3, like that's on your task list. And it'll say, and then it'll put projects on there. Like the task list has projects and it has routines and it has calendar items. That's what's stressful, is when you have one to-do list that has all kinds of stuff on it. So you don't want that anymore. What you're going to do instead, your calendar's separate, very specific. This is what's happening today that has to happen. And like 2 things if possible, maybe 3. You want to keep your calendar like as clear as you can. Don't book stuff unless you're just planning that's a book day. Routines then are totally off your task list and totally off your calendar. Like, I have mine just like this in a little, routines and responsibilities. And it's just posted, and they don't stress me out, because if anything on that list doesn't happen, no one's going to die. If something has to happen, it's on my calendar. Okay. And then once I have my calendar working well, super streamlined, and my routines are kind of on autopilot, and I know, okay, I'm keeping up with email, I'm sending out the newsletters, I'm showing up to, appointments, we're doing our webinars, whatever it is we need to do, that's fine. Now I'm moving forward on projects. So I'm, creating new systems, writing my book, starting a new membership, right? Stuff like that. That's really exciting. Okay, and then a question came in. That's where I get confused. My routine of going to the gym is non-negotiable. Should that be on the routines list? I think that is on the routines list. You could put it on your calendar if it's a certain time you go, but I would put it on my routines list, because you say it's non-negotiable and you're committed and you're doing it, then it's most likely happening. Like you probably have some routine in place where you just like make it go every morning at a certain time or something like that. Maybe let me know. Because if it's on a routines list, it should just be habit. If you find like you're committed to going to the gym and you want to go, but you never go, and it's on your routines list, then I would put it on your calendar, and I would have like an alert pop up, something to remind you. But if you just know you do it, like I go for a walk every day with my dog, I don't put it on my calendar, it's just on my routines list, but I do it and I like it because the dog reminds me. Okay, so certain time on certain days, great. Yeah, then you can block it off on your calendar if you just want to make sure no one else schedules anything at that time and you've got it. That's great. I go to the gym like twice a week. This week I didn't though, because I was just in a bad mood. So I didn't go. But if I put it on my calendar, then Eric won't schedule anything, and that seems to work really well. Okay, but the idea with a routines list is everything on there is autopilot, and there's not really any stress, and you're just going to check in on it once a week and make sure you're actually doing it. All right, next question said, I have several different areas of my life that I have to keep juggling: elderly parents, realtor job, hobby, farm chores, antiques, consignment store, booth, family responsibilities. There weren't really commas there, so I don't know if I got all that right. How do I keep track of things to do, all together or in separated lists? Okay, all together. And here's why. Because what most people do, or many people do, is they'll get out a sheet of paper and they'll say, here's all my home tasks, here's all my farm tasks, here's my parent task, here's my realtor tasks. So they organize things by category of their life and their responsibilities. Now that's fine if you want to look at it and you want a visual understanding of how things are organized, but I would recommend trying to work off a list like that, because then if you're out running errands, you're like, oh, I'm out running errands, what should I do? And you're going to look at this list and you're going to see, well, home errands, you're not going to be able to find the errands. You're going to have to like find them. And so you want to reduce the time spent scanning a list. That's what we're going to totally eliminate, because I used to spend hours scanning my list over the course of a month, right? Every day you scan like 50 times, that scanning is ridiculous. You don't want to do it anymore. So you could color code if you wanted, like, okay, here's my, my list for my, where I have home, phone, errands, computer, and to discuss. So let's say I wanted to know, oh, what things on my list are work, what things are family, what things are for friends. I could just make them all different colors if I wanted, but keep them in these categories. That makes sense. You just want to make it so anytime you're running errands, you know what to do. And anytime you're making a phone call, you know which phone calls to make, things like that. All right, question came in. How do you develop the self-discipline to follow through with a realistic task list when I get distracted with so many distractions? Figure out what's distracting you and then put a system in place. Like if it's email, I've been using that inbox pause. If it's people always needing you, like Eric and I, we have this little pineapple on our desk. One of us, if we want to talk to the other person, we have to lay the pineapple on its side, and that's our code. So come up with a code. If it's kids, you'll say, hey, I'm going to work for this amount of time, block it out. No one come in and get me. I'm just going to work, and then we'll go do something fun afterwards, or we'll go make dinner or whatever together. But figure out what your distractions are, because you don't need to be distracted. You just have to communicate. I actually was working with this man this week where he's a leader of a big team, a big company, and he's made himself very accessible. So all of his team leaders, all of his clients, everyone just knows they can email and call him all the time, and it's driving him crazy, and he's getting nothing done. So we set up inbox pause for him. We talked about how he's going to tell his team members, hey, 10 to 12 every day is my work time. I have like office hours. I'm available to talk between 1 and 3. If you need something, come to me 24 hours in advance. Like, set up rules for your life, because you get to be in charge. Other people don't have to do that. Okay. I'm glad you like our pineapple. Okay, another question. Do you have your context-based next actions list? From that list, you make another list of what to do each day? No. Okay, thanks for asking that question. So my planner, here's my planner. My planner right here on this side, this is where I put tasks. Typically, these aren't work tasks. These are like just home or family tasks. I put them here, and these are calendar specific. And then this is just sitting here in my planner, and this is week specific. So by the end of the week, this should all be checked off. If it's not, like I didn't call the dentist, then I need to change that. That's a conversation with my kids, how we talked about. Okay. All right. So great. Let's go on to the next question. And let's see. Paperless tools. How to go paperless. Can Nozbe and Evernote be used together to make organizations simpler? I personally haven't used Nozbe. I know Michael Hyatt loves it, and a lot of people love it. Anything that you can combine that makes it more calm in your brain, yes, it's totally up to you. I mean, there's so many different tools. You could do paper tools, anything you want. Evernote, I think of as an awesome filing cabinet, and I don't think Evernote alone does the job as well for things like next actions list, and calendars. Obviously, Evernote doesn't have a calendar, but Evernote's beautiful to work with any other system. Eric does use Evernote for his next actions. He just likes it, but I think it's a little too much copying and pasting. I don't do it. So I'll show you more about Asana, but that's how we do it. And I haven't used the Evernote scanner. Has anyone on the call used the Evernote scanner, or do you have a special scanner you like? I mean, really, they have that scanner app. I think it's called Scannable or something like that. It's like a little butterfly. I have used that, and it's worked great. And I just take pictures of things. So I would say I'm like 90% digital right now. The papers I have are really minimal, but that's working. Okay, and I don't know how you say your name. Grain? Maybe you tell me how you say your name. She said yes with notebooks. Oh, Grania. Okay, yay, Grania. She says yes, she's used the Evernote scanner with notebooks and Fuji Scan Snap. Okay, awesome. And Asana is my tool I use, and I'll show you guys. I'm actually gonna do a screen share and I'll take you in. So we'll do that in just a second. I'm almost to the end of these questions, and then we'll zoom in there and we'll talk more about that. Okay, another one said, how much time will the step starter take if I want to just block off some time and get a jump start? I would say give it like maybe an hour and go through. I think they're all like 10 minutes to listen to for the step diagram, the flow chart, and the week review. And you can take about an hour, just kind of look through that, see how it goes, and then that should be good for you. Okay. And all right, next says, how do you deal with random business ideas? Okay, so you need to capture them and just put them somewhere at the moment, and then you're going to process them. Now, if you have an Evernote that's up that just has like random business ideas, to just collect things like someday or business ideas, stick it right in there. Otherwise, like if I'm just getting an idea, I'll seriously just open up my planner and just write it down on this page over here. and just get anything out of my head. So during the day, something gets to my mind, I'm like, oh, I'll just write it down right there. Now, right now, I'm creating a little list for Danielle on this just because I like to save my planner pages for things I'm not just scribbling because I like my pages to look pretty. So that's how I do that. But yeah, capture the idea, put it somewhere into Evernote so you can find it easily with keywords, all right? And then next one says, I'm getting stuck going from setup and gathering all the materials to actually starting to process or implement. Can you give more detail for that part of the process? Yes. Okay. So it sounds like you're in module 3 and 4, just getting things built. Okay. So I'll just kind of turn over to my system again. Let me put that down. See if I can turn my computer, this little thing. All right. So here's my system, basically, right here. You can see it. So I've got my inbox that needs to be processed soon. My cubbies that are all set up. I've got my tickler. I'm going to see if I can show you that. My tickler, Sunday, incubation, and routines. So this is how I have mine set up. I also use Evernote for a lot, mainly my filing cabinet. I do have my filing cabinet here, but I use Evernote for mostly all my files. And then I do have my Asana. I'll show you right now. So going through modules 3 to collect stuff and module 4 to build. Module 4 is your module that's going to show you how to get everything built. And then remember, module 5, we're collecting everything. Module 6, we're processing. So what I would recommend, and what I've been actually saying in our STEP Facebook group, is if you go into any of these modules and you have any question, like you see a step and you're like, I don't quite understand how that's going to work, let us know, because we'll add clarifications wherever you need it. We want to make sure it's just really easy, because the idea is that you can go step by step by step through the program and you can be totally happy and feel great. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do is actually give you guys a little tour of our Asana, my Asana, and I haven't done a screen share here for a while, so let me just go ahead and see if I can get this done right. We're going to do desktop. Okay. Says it's starting. Okay, hopefully that should work. All right. Now, let me see if I can see the chat. 1 second. Okay. So can someone just type in the chat and let me know if you can see my Asana right now? I'll just check the chat and see if someone can see it. It should say my tasks in Learn Do Become. Okay, now my chat's not going down right. Yes, okay, good. Okay, so this is Asana. And when you come in, it has here on the left where you can create projects, all right? Now I made this one, my projects and my routines for just for samples. And I took screenshots and put them on our podcast show notes page today. But I'm gonna take you guys in like my personal stuff because I'm thinking you guys wanna probably see it. We'll talk about how it works. Now up at the top of Asana, you can take any of these projects you've created and you can put them up here as favorites. So I've chosen 3 favorites. These are my personal or my projects. So I have one called April's Projects, one called April's Routines, and then I've tried adding April's personal tasks. I'll talk more about how that works. Typically I use my planner for all my personal tasks, but I'm giving this a try and seeing how it works. And then Danielle has her projects here, and we're trying out some new things like our editorial calendar, like our podcast process, some other stuff down there. But really, if you just had 2, they call them projects, I just would recommend you have your projects and your routines and get it set like that. Now, the view I'm in right now is what's called My Tasks. So I'll come back to this in a second, but let's start with My Projects. Okay, so when you come into My Projects, I divided it into these 4 categories. So current projects, I've decided I can only have 2 current projects because if I have more than that, I want to throw up. Like I can't do it. I mentally can't handle it. I get sick to my stomach. I get anxious. I snap at my family. I don't sleep well. I don't eat well. Like it's really bad. I'm not good at being stressed. So my projects list has to be really short. So I have 2 projects right now that I'm working on. So the first one is my book. It's called Thursdays with Zoe. Oh wait, I don't think you guys can see me anymore. Can you see me? Can you type in the chat if you could actually see me as a video at the top anymore? I don't know if you can see me. Oh, you can. Okay. All right. So I'll picture at the top. Okay. So this is my book, Thursdays with Zoe. It just came. I got my first batch of the proofs. So this book I just printed, and I'm so excited about it. I've worked on it for 4 years, and I'm thrilled about it. So I am launching that next Wednesday. So in order to do that, though, I've got to replace, we changed the title of it. I have to replace a whole bunch of files. I have a lot of stuff to do. There's like, well, actually, I'll show you what I have to do. If I click on Publish Thursdays with Zoe, you're going to see over here, it's going to pop up and show you all my steps. So the faded out ones are the things we've done so far, all right? Like uploading the new PDF, ordering my proof, designing, Design Pickle, did our digital edits. All of that's done. And you can see what's in pink. That's what Danielle's doing for me. So I've gave her a few tasks, like help with the tags, help with the product, go through the audio files, things like that. So anything in pink, I just delegate to Danielle, and it shows up for her. It emails her and it puts it in her inbox, which is awesome. So then last night I got the audio files redone and gave those to her. So now she's going to help get those set. And then today, like I'm duplicating people can get samples of the book. I'm putting that together. I have to put the link on Amazon, and we're putting together a foundation called Love from Zoe, where I'm donating proceeds of the book to other people to do good things in my mom's name. Super excited about it. But then I need to promote it through Learn to Become, Empower Moms, and order some copies for gifts and stuff like that. So I just put all the tasks. So this project is what I'm working on between now and Wednesday. All right, so now I'm going to go back. If you just click, I don't know where I have to click again to get rid of that. Current projects. All right. But then if here, I can shut that. There we go. All right. So my other project is I'm taking a course. There's a guy named Stu McLaren who's teaching me how to create a membership site. So I want to go a little bit above and beyond what we do at STEP. I love STEP program, but it's like once we come in and then you get your Command Central up and running, then what? So I want to create a membership site where we're going to go deeper into our lives and what we're doing and strengthening our families and what we're becoming. So I'm super excited about that. So I'm thinking maybe January I'll be launching that, but I don't know. I'm not going to stress myself out. But going through the course and publishing my book, those are my two projects. Okay, question said, do you prioritize your task list or put it in any specific order or simply brainstorm? So tell me which task list you're talking about, like under my tasks, is that what you're talking about? Because for the projects, you can move things around. So I could like take this and say, okay, actually my course is, highest priority or something like that. But right now it's not, it's my mom's book. So I'll put that in there. Then I have in progress or waiting. So all of these here, like we're getting a new thank you page for webinar signups. I have a STEP coaching option that we're adding where people can get more personal support. We're adding the planning as a couple to the STEP library. So there's a whole bunch of little projects that I've already started all of these, but I'm waiting like for Eric to record some of these audios with me, or I'm waiting for like to get something back. So these, I just sit there because I don't have to think about them. They're going to come back to me, but I'll at least review them every week. Okay. So then the question came in under Publish Thursdays with Zoe, for example. Oh, prioritize those tasks. Yeah. So what I did is as I typed them, I put them in order for what I wanted. And I love Asana because you can move everything. So if I was like, oh, actually, I want to, do this, edit this page, and I want to do that before, you just drag and drop them. And so you just get out your brainstorm, put anything that you want in there, and then you can just move it around and prioritize. And you can add these due dates. So if you add a due date to it and it's assigned to you, see, it has like a little picture there, it'll show up under my tasks. So it could be totally out of order and you could just put in due dates and then it would reorder itself once you look at my tasks. But then what's cool is like, look at the end, you can add images. So this is like my book cover. And I did a little note to Danielle saying, hey, I planned out these steps and, she and I can chat back and forth. So it's pretty cool. I really like it. All right. So after you have current projects and then you have in progress or waiting, then we have next in line projects. So like I need to type out some sort of or make an introduction series for Learn to Become, because people will join our newsletter list, but they have no idea who we are. And like they'll buy our book and then who are we? So I need to kind of let them know who we are, or a bunch of testimonials that come in for the STEP program. So I need to update the slides and include those. We're changing our shopping cart. We've changed it halfway, but there's some other things kind of lingering that need to go in. So you can see I have a whole bunch of projects that are next in line. They're waiting, but I'm not stressed about them. They're just sitting there waiting. Remember, the only two I'm working on are at the very, very top. And then I have someday projects like corporate outreach, a lot of different corporate clients have said, hey, we would love to give STEP to all of our employees, which is great. But that I got to create systems for that. We need to do more, all the stuff that goes with that. There's just a lot of steps. So yeah, so those are my 4 categories. And that's my current projects list. So this is what I do, like literally, and this is where it gets exciting for me. Today I had just one thing on my calendar. Actually, it was this call. My whole morning was totally open, which was great. And so I had a few things on my calendar list that I need to get done. So I got all of them done. And now I have this call. And now I have nothing else I have to do today besides enjoy my children and take a nap. Okay. So then what I do though is when I have time pop up, let's say my kids are like, hey, I'm going outside to play. I'm going to a friend's house. I'm going to go do this. And my kids are all over the place and they don't really need me right then I'll say, okay, what are my projects? I'm trying to publish Thursdays with Zoe and I'm working on my membership site. So I would just think, I'd click on either one of those and say, hey, which task do I want to do right now? Now I'm ahead. I'm totally ahead of the game and it feels so good, but my next actions are right there. Like, Eric talks about it like a Pez dispenser. This list is like a whole bunch of Pez dispensers and they're all ready for me, but there's no stress. There's no like, yes, I want to get it done by Wednesday, but I've got several days and I know it's coming and it's on my calendar that the launch is happening on Wednesday. So I don't need to be worried about it, but it's just coming. All right, so that's projects. And then let's look now at routines. Okay, April's routines. Now I told you how I have my routines set up here. So remember my routines are here generally. This is like my life routines. Like when are we doing laundry, groceries, time with the kids, piano lessons for Spencer, when do I go walking, when do I drink water, like all of that is here. I don't put that on Asana, all right? Okay, let me stop for a second. Grania is saying, this is definitely looking better for next actions and tracking than Evernote. I totally agree. Evernote is my filing cabinet and I put audios in there, videos, tons of stuff. I love it. But I use this for my project management because it's fantastic. Okay, then Allison said, which tasks do you put in your paper planner versus Asana? So that's the thing is I'm still trying to figure out if I can trust Asana with my personal tasks. And the reason why is because I don't like to be on my phone. When I'm with my kids, I hate having my phone out in front of me because I feel like it just distracts me from them and I want to be more present. So like I'll leave my phone upstairs and I just go down and hang out with the kids. Because like having a strong family is like central to everything I do at Learn to Become. So like that really matters. But what I found is if in my planner, I have all of my tasks that are like errands, like what I need to buy at Sam's Club. I'm asking my friend Rachel if she wants to do our family photos for Christmas. I'm going to call my friend JC and see if we want to get together. I need to drop off an old computer hard drive at this computer repair shop, right? Stuff like that. That's like errands, home stuff. Reminding Ethan to wiggle his teeth because he has 3 teeth that need to come out before he can get his braces put back on. Like, all this stuff of life, just that goes in here. Asana is like Learn to Become for the most part. And I'll show you how I'm changing it a little bit, but it's been so good. So here's what I've done with Learn to Become, because I could have made the sections and okay, one cool thing about sections, look, if you add a colon, look, it makes it into a label. Isn't that fun? But you take that off and then it makes it not a label. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so instead of doing daily, weekly, monthly, twice a year, quarterly, semi-annually, annually, instead of doing that on this one, I just want to sit down and say, are all my bases covered in my business? So this is what I've put together. These were like the routines that were kind of weighing me down. And everyone's might look different according to if you're running a business or if you have a job you're working at or whatever you're doing, it's going to look a little different. But I just found with Learn to Become, leadership and administration is a big part of it, like regular meetings that I have, marketing, doing social media engagement, marketing, content creation, outreach, sales. I put Power of Moms on here as its own little category because that's another website I run. But Learn to Become like our full-time thing. And then product fulfillment. So things like this Step Live Q&A call, that's a routine because it needs to be prepared. Like as soon as we're done recording, then Danielle, I'll let her know, hey, I'm done. Here's the date for the next one. She goes into, she goes and she gets the audio out, the video out, makes the timestamps, makes the page, puts it all together, schedules a new one, preps the email. Like she's amazing. So that's a routine so that we don't have to think about it every month and think, oh, what are we going to do? Okay. So this way I just put routines on this list. Now, the thing is, any of these things that are in here are they're not calendar specific. Like, yes, content creation, I would love to have a post out every Monday or something like that. I'm just not there yet. There's just so much going on in our lives that I just don't have like a really consistent routine. It's coming, like we're almost there. I actually have next week's podcast totally done. So things are coming, but I'm not stressed about anything on the routines list. Now, what you can do though is what I've done here, like with Eric's and Danielle's and Saren's. These are 3 meetings that I have every week. So I actually put them in like, okay, today is a meeting with Danielle. And I actually want to click over here and we'll talk about it. Up here in Asana, you can click and I say right now, this repeats weekly on Friday. You could change it and say it repeats weekly on Monday and Wednesday. Like you can pick as many of these as you want and you can add a time. So you could say every Monday at 8 a.m. I record a podcast and you could put it on there. So it's really neat how you can set it up if you want to have the routines and everything organized and have it set up by time and calendar and stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be. So if you'll notice for 99% of these, I don't have any due dates, right? But here I have due dates, okay? So that's April's routines. Let me see, there's a question said, where do you put the errands? So I just put my errands right here on my, this is my next actions list. And I just keep it, it's called a progressive task list by Franklin Covey. So I just have an errands section and I just write it right there. And then I stick it in my calendar because really, and I could though, here's the thing. You can tag things in Asana. You could create, a friend of mine created personal tasks. I'll show you this. Okay, so I started a new one called personal tasks. If I were to transfer all of my paper planner stuff into Asana, this is where it would go. And I would do something like this. Let me actually show you. So I'm giving a talk at church next in November, but I would say home is working on that talk. My puppy needs a flea treatment every month. And so I actually put it on here to make it a little bit easier to remind me to do it. And so, because I like to have it pop up. And that's actually why I got the idea. Because I was like, oh, I don't want to put it in my calendar. And in my planner, I didn't have that many pages. So then my question was, when could I add it in? Sorry, let me just show you real quick. So I could do something like home, errands, right? You could put it all in here. And then this would show up on your app as well. Okay. All right, next question said, I don't have my own business and I work somewhere. I can't have my cell phone with me. How would you suggest I make the most of the routine section in Asana? Can you have a computer open with you? Because if you have, let me know, Catherine, if you can have your computer at your work and you could do routines in Asana, then I think that would be awesome. You could just put them there. If you don't have a computer at work, okay, yes, limited access if they block certain websites. Okay, I would check in to see if they block Asana. Because if you said, hey, and if they do block it, ask if they could not block it. Because if you said, I'm going to put together some really great routines for work and I want to have them organized and I'll show you guys how to do it, I think that would be fantastic. And then you could just utilize it there. And Asana really has an awesome app. Like, I'm really impressed with it. You can add photos to it. You can add your Evernote links. You can share with people. Like, it's pretty cool. So, and the thing is, I wasn't using Asana. I was using Kanban-Flow. And actually a question came in saying, what's the difference between Kanban-Flow and Asana and Evernote? Kind of how do you use them? So we've talked about, Evernote is just where I put things like brainstorms, outlines, audio files, pictures, screenshots, what kind of printer cartridges I need, recipes for smoothies, like whatever. I just put all that kind of stuff into Evernote. Kanban-Flow was great. I actually did Kanban-Flow to do exactly what I'm doing here in April's projects. So I had it organized by like next in line projects. So far left for me was next in line. Then I had in progress and waiting. Then current projects, in progress and waiting, and done. So that's how I had my Kanban organized. But I just found I couldn't search it. It was a little tricky to search. And I was having a hard time finding things, and I was getting like 100 projects and I couldn't organize all of them. Trello, though, I think has a better search function from what I understand. I might be wrong, but a lot of people love Trello. Trello is more, so Kanban-Flow is just like Trello. It was just like different colors and looked a little different. I created a Trello account, but I just didn't dive in too much, but I may in the future. A lot of people have been loving Trello in the step system, and a lot of people just use it really well. You can upload files to it. You can share with teams. So I think that's a great idea too. So if you're really visual and you want more color and you want to see the boards, I think Trello is an awesome option. I would just make sure you're organizing your projects in a way where you have the current projects on one little board and keep it super simple. And having an in progress or waiting, that's going to save you, because otherwise you either have to put it on current projects or next in line. And if it's in limbo, you won't know where to put it. So I just do in progress or waiting, and then next in line works well. Okay, Janice is saying it all sounds good, but totally overwhelmed. For a beginner, where should I start? Start with paper. I would start with paper. So just have a paper called My Current Projects List and make sure it's short. And then any extra projects that come into your mind, you're like, oh yeah, that's a project. Just add it on your paper for now and keep it separate from current. Okay. Or star the current ones or something like that. Yeah. Catherine's like, I was overwhelmed, started with paper. Totally. Keep it simple. The thing is, the reason I've grown to this is because my project load has ballooned. And so my paper planner just couldn't accommodate it. But what I did for seriously 6 or 7 years, I just had one sheet of paper at the back of my planner that said current projects. And I put like 3 current projects there. Really easy. Or, yeah, Janice saying, can you do all my planner? Yes, you can. In fact, I have a whole video of how I used to do it just with my planner. I'll put that video in there and show you guys, because that's really easy to just have your planner. I'll do a whole planner tour and show you how I did it there when I was working mainly with moms. And Grania saying, also you're delegating to others. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And the thing was, I started doing more trainings of other people who are running businesses, and they were already using Asana. So I was like, well, I need to know how to use Asana if I'm going to train people on the STEP system. So I downloaded Asana, I learned how to use it, and then I went into their systems to see what was overwhelming them. And then I kind of re-engineered it to work like this. And then it's actually worked really well for the people I've been training. So that's why I did that. And yes, this is recording, so we'll send this on to you as well. Okay, so yeah, so I said April's projects, April's routines, the personal tasks, and then it's pretty simple. That's what, oh, my tasks, I'll show you. So when I look at my calendar, I gotta step back, kind of derailed. When I wake up in the morning, look at my calendar, and then I get done what needs to happen that day. The way I know is, of course, I look at my planner because those are my family things. And then I come here to my tasks. Now, what I love about this is you can view it however you want. Like it says view tasks by due date, or you can view incomplete, completed, tasks by project. You can see it however you want. I like to see tasks by due date. And the reason why is because it pulls out all the subtasks from all of my projects and puts them in one list. Now, most of my projects don't have deadlines because I'm working at it like the Pez dispenser. I don't want deadlines. I'm my own boss. I don't want a deadline. So for anything you're working on that's just for you, like cleaning your house or planning a project or writing your book or, you know, whatever it is you're creating or doing or organizing, you're your own boss. You don't have to have a deadline. If you want one, you can have it, but you don't have to. So then I come in here and I say, okay, what are my like learn, do, become things that need to happen today? So this is what I look at, this my tasks. I look at this when I'm doing my computer context work when my kids are at school. I'm not looking at this the rest of the day. That's why I have my planner for errands and stuff to do at home with my kids. So this is strictly for like learn, do, become, and power of moms. So today I need to check in with Danielle. We kind of have a weekly check-in where I just talk to her and say, hey, is there anything I can do to make your life easier? You know, because she's awesome. She has 5 children and totally supports Learn, Do, Become and does an amazing job. Totally does the STEP system. It's fantastic. And so I want to make systems in place, or I want to help her, and I want to do whatever I can to be a support. So I just have that. I need to check in with her today. And then I'm working on the samples for my book. And that's all that has to be done today. Now I'm looking ahead and I see, okay, Sunny's Advantix. I've got to go to Petco actually and get that for her. So this is what I would do. I put this in here as a calendar trigger for me because I didn't have my planner pages and I didn't want to stick it on my calendar, like on my Google Calendar. So what I would do right now, if I know tomorrow I need to get Sunny her medicine, then or her little flea treatment, I'm just going to go to tomorrow on my planner. And I'm just going to write Sunny's Advantix so that when I am away from my computer tomorrow, enjoying my kids, then I can go ahead and I'll look at my task list and see, oh yeah, I need to go pick up her Advantix while I'm out getting groceries, right? I'm going to group my errands. So that should make it really easy. But then I just have all my other tasks just organized right here, and I can see what's coming for tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And you can see I don't have a ton on there. There's like maybe 2 or 3 things per day. And that's just my computer work. And then as soon as those things are at least done or checked in, then I just go back to April's projects and I say, okay, what's next? And I'm moving these projects around a lot. Like Thursdays with Zoe, the publication will be done by Wednesday. So that's going to be a finished project. And when you're done, you just click the little checkbox and it disappears. And then I'll have room to bring in this one that's waiting. But what I'm usually going to do is, as I'm planning my projects, I'll say to Eric, hey, Eric, I'm thinking I'm going to work on this thank you page now this week. Do you think that's a good idea? Is there anything else that maybe should be a higher priority? And he'll talk to me and then he'll say, okay, and I'm going to work on this. Does that sound good? And I'll say, oh yeah. Or, we just get to plan together. So it makes it really good and really easy. Okay, so any other questions on Asana? I'll close this up. If anyone has any other questions, let me know. But this is just how I do it. And again, it's one way. If you go on and Google how to use Asana, there's like tons of ways you can do it. So this is just one way, but it works really, really well. And it's super simple. And I feel like it's changed my life. It's been awesome. Okay, so I'll stop the screen sharing. We have like 3 more minutes. So any other questions or anything anyone wants me to review? I think, I don't know if there's anything else I was going to talk about. I think we've gone over, we talked about Evernote, we've talked about Asana, we've talked about how to plan your projects, how to build your stuff. Okay, I think you guys are good. Thank you so much for being with us. Okay, Catherine's like, it's been a bit overwhelming, but also helpful. Okay, totally get it. If you feel like it's been overwhelming, it's probably because you're newer to the system, which is great. You kind of came and you can see kind of what's happening. But all you need to do is build a simple system, go through the steps in the modules, get your system built, gather your stuff, right? And start moving forward on your project step by step. It's totally going to help you, okay? Next question said, are you familiar with Wunderlist? I've heard about it and heard great things about it. I haven't used it yet though. So let me know if you love it. Are you using that right now? Okay, actually use that now, Wunderlist. So yeah, Miriam's using that, great. Anything that will give you the ability to have tags, then that should work really well. Okay. And thank you guys. Yeah, flying solo today. Eric will be back hopefully next time. He had to travel last time too, but he should be back next time. And we're so grateful to have you guys with us. It's been fantastic to be with you. You guys are amazing. And I love this. Anna's like, I'm here in Dallas. I listen to the car while picking up kids. Yay. So yes, the video recording we'll give to you. We'll put that in your step system. Have an awesome day, you guys. Thanks again for being here. And any other questions you have, post it in the STEP Facebook group. We're here to support you. We're here to help you. We want to make this awesome, and you can totally do this. Life is not going to be perfect, but we're going to move forward. We're going to get everything going, and it's going to be awesome. So, okay, bye, everybody. Take care.